Today we're going to be making some rainbow slipper socks. For this you will need the yarn in your choice of colour, a tape measure, a pair of scissors and a crochet hook. For this I'm using a 6.5mm crochet hook, but you can use whichever one goes with the yarn that you use. You will also need a wool needle. And that's everything that we're going to need today. So let's get crocheting. We're going to start off by making a slip knot. So just wrap the yarn around to form a loop and pull it through. We're going to pop that slip knot on your crochet hook and we're going to start with a chain 2. From the chain 2, you're now going to work 6 single crochet stitches, or double crochet if you prefer UK terms, into the second chain from the hook. So all those 6 stitches are going into the same stitch. What we're doing here is we're forming a little circle which will be the start of the toe. Just count to make sure you've got enough stitches. Cat interruption. So for the next round we're going to be working 2 single crochets into every single crochet stitch we've just made. So we're going to be going from 6 stitches to 12 stitches. This is increasing by 6 stitches. Nearly there. Yeah, so when I get to the end of this row, I'm just going to pull that yarn tight to close that hole, and then onto the next row where we'll be increasing another 6 stitches. So for this row, I'm going to single crochet in the first stitch and then do 2 single crochets in the second stitch and repeat that around to increase again by 6 stitches. And we're going to continue increasing this way evenly until the circle that we have is about 8 centimeters wide. It wants to be that size for sort of an average adult size slipper sock. If you wanted to go for a child, you probably want to do about 5 and 6 centimeters, so you could maybe even stop now. And if you wanted to do an extra large or a big man foot, you want to be going for sort of 9 to 10 centimeters wide, but you're just going to be increasing in exactly the same way, 6 stitches evenly each round until it is the size that you want it to be. I'm just going to speed things up a little bit now. Okay, it looks like we're getting to the end. I think I got to about 30 stitches for the sample that I made. So that was 4 rounds of increases. But I should be about to measure now. But apparently I've lost count. You can use a stitch marker if you want to, so you know when you've come to the end of the round. I just count in my head. I find it easier than moving a stitch marker each time. Okay. Come on, stop it. And just measuring, and that is just between 7 and 8 centimeters across. So that's the size I'm looking for this. It feels like it's not big enough for the start of the toe, because you're not going to be doing any more increases. But honestly, it is. And yeah, so from now on, we're not going to be increasing. We are just going to be working straight. And so you're going to be doing a single crochet into every single stitch, no increases whatsoever. And I'm just going to do another couple rounds in this purple colour before I change colour, and I'll show you how to do that next. So I'm just coming up to the colour change. I did put a stitch marker in just for this couple of rounds because obviously I didn't particularly want to count because I'm not increasing now, and but I wanted to know when I'd done 2 rounds. From this you shouldn't really need to use it. But yeah, we're just coming up to the end mark now, and I'm going to show you how I change colour. So it's really easy. So you're going to take your new colour. So you are going to go into the stitch as if you are doing a single crochet. Pick up the yarn like you would normally do, bring it back through, but instead of taking over the colour that you're using, you're now going to take over your new colour and pull that back through. So it's almost like the first half of the stitch you do in the old colour and the second half of the stitch you do in the new colour. I'm now going to trim that yarn because I won't be using that one again. And instead of sewing in my ends later, I'm going to crochet over them now. So to do this, I just hold them at the back of my stitches. And as I am working single crochets on the next row, I will just work over them as if they are not there. Yeah, this is a great way to weave in your ends as you go. You can use it on any type of crochet project as long as you've got a straight run of stitches that you can hide the ends behind. I'll trim off any excess later, but they are out of my way for now. And yeah, I'm just going to keep going in the new colour. Again, we're not increasing at this point. We're not increasing again in this project, I don't think. We're just going to keep on working flat up the foot. Because I'm working this project in stripes, I'm going to be doing about 6 or 7 stripes of each colour, so I do just keep checking and counting my rounds as I'm going round. I'm nearly at the end of the blue section now, and I'm going to be changing colour again to green. You can see where I did the colour change there before. I'm just counting my rows there. It's not invisible, but it's pretty neat. The colour changes in this pattern will be underneath the foot and at the back of the leg, so they really won't be seen. So I'm just going to show you that colour change again. I've gone into the blue, picked that up, and then I'm going to pick up the green and pull it back through. And again, I'm going to crochet over my ends. And again, I'm just going to keep on going with this colour. So we've got another 6 or 7 rows in the green to go, and then we're going to change to yellow before we split for the heel. So I'm about halfway through the yellow section now. I've done about 3 rows, and I'm just going to measure to see if I can break for the heel. I'm at 17 centimetres, which should be about 7 inches. Yep, which is about the right size for me. You want to make this measurement about 2 inches or 8 centimetres short of your actual foot length. So on the next round we are going to break for the heel. I'm just showing you that all the colour changes are on the bottom of the foot, and the nice side is going to be the top of the foot. This is going to be important for this next section. So you're going to crochet around using single crochet as we have been doing throughout, until you get to the edge of the top of the foot. I'll show you when we get there. But So you can see I'm not there yet. That's where I'm going to. Okay, just a couple more stitches to go. Right, now I'm there. So I've brought all the way over that side, and now what I'm going to do is count the amount of stitches that are on the other side. This of course will be different for everybody if you're using different yarns, different hook sizes, different gauges. So you're just going to count those stitches, and then you are going to chain that amount of stitches. I think mine was 15. So I'm going to chain 15 stitches. Chain stitch is not my favourite, don't know why. And then you're going to skip those stitches. All, as for me it was 15, however many it is for you. You'll be able to see because the piece will be flat. And then when you get to the corner, that's where you want to put your next stitch. So you're going to single crochet around as we've been doing before and get back to where we split for that chain. Okay, and when we get to the chain, we're then going to be working our single crochets in those chain stitches instead of in the stitches below. This is going to create a gap which we're going to pick up later and make the heel in. So just crochet, single crochet in those chain stitches however you like. This does not have to be perfect because nobody is going to see it. So when you've done one round around the chain, it should look something like this. So you'll have that gap where the heel is going to be and the front looks nice. So we're now just going to continue going round and round doing single crochets in every stitch as we've been doing before. I did just pop a stitch marker in at the beginning of this row just to count how many stitches to make sure I was back to the original amount that I had. It's a good idea to do that. But don't worry too much if you aren't. You can always just pop an extra stitch in or do a quick decrease. Yeah, and so you're just going to continue in this way. Keep doing 6 or 7 row stripes of each colour until we get to the final colour. Yeah, you do want to make sure that you're putting your colour changes on the back of the work again, and then you can see that that gap is there. But yeah, just make sure that you are doing your colour changes in the same sort of place, regardless of what we've just been doing with the heel. And yeah, I will catch you up when I'm on the last colour, and then we'll do something fancy to go around the top. Right, so we're just coming to the end now. This is our last row, and we're going to finish with a crab stitch, which is a really simple stitch. It is a single crochet stitch like we have just been doing, but we're going to be doing it in the reverse order. So I will show you how to do that when we get to the end of this row. Okay, it looks like we're there. So you're going to go into the stitch previous rather than the next stitch and work a single crochet stitch. So as you can see, I'm going into the stitch that's behind, but the actual movement of the hook and the stitch is exactly the same as a single crochet stitch. I am just going into a different direction. And what that does is it twists the yarn around and it gives this really nice decorative finish. And we're going to do that all the way around. It feels a bit weird, but it's pretty simple to do. And it just gives a really nice effect, because obviously we're not doing any ribbing on the top of these socks. Crochet is stable enough to stand up by itself, it doesn't need it, but this will just give a nice bit of fancy on the edge. And yeah, we'll just keep doing that all the way around and we'll get a nice border. And we're getting to the end now, so I will just show you how to finish off. That's the last stitch. So cut your yarn, leave a long tail for sewing in, pull your loop up and tuck the cut yarn through the loop, pull it tight, and that's not going anywhere. And then just thread that end onto a wool needle. And just weave in those ends. So a cattail there. I like to just go backwards a little bit so it locks itself in place, and then when you cut that end off, that's going nowhere. And apart from the heel, that is our sock done. That edging is just really nice. So yeah. So the next thing we're going to do is pick up that heel. And this bit is also very easy. So I'm going to be using the yellow as my heel colour. You could use a contrast colour if you like. And we're going to join where we're changing colours at the back of the heel. So just pull the yarn through any stitch at the back of the heel and then do a single crochet into the next stitch. Bring that tail behind like we were doing before, and it'll tuck it in at the same time as we're working. And we're just going to be working normal single crochets again until we get to the corners. I will show you when we get there. Okay, these are fairly clear to see. So one more stitch and we're there. Okay, now we're at the corner and I want to crochet those two stitches together. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into the first stitch as if I'm going to do a single crochet, and then I'm going to go into the next stitch as if I'm going to do a single crochet, and then I'm going to take all those loops off the hook at the same time, and that brings them together, and that is how you do a decrease, a single crochet decrease. So every other stitch apart from the corner stitches, we're just going to be working normal single crochet. So I'm struggling there. Yeah, so just keep going round, but whenever we hit the corner we are going to do a decrease in exactly the same way. It is a bit tricky to manoeuvre it at this point, but we are on the home straight. We are nearly there. So yeah, we're just going to get to that corner again. One more stitch. And yeah, so now I'm going to decrease those 2 stitches together, go into one and then the other, and then all off. And then we'll just single crochet around until we get to the corner again. When we get to the corner, because we've already worked one decrease, you'll be able to see it, and we're just going to decrease over the top of that. It's really important, I think, to look at your crochet and to recognise the different stitches, which is why I like doing decreases which are visible, because I think they make a nice decorative line in this pattern. And also it means you're not counting all the time, because you are just going to get to that point where you have a decrease and you're going to be going over it. So you can see that decrease there. We've got one more stitch to go and then we're there. Then we're going to decrease those 2 stitches over the top of it. And this is how we work the heel. We're just going to keep on going round in single crochet and doing decrease at every corner until it gets quite small. So I'll speed things up a bit. Okay, that hole is definitely getting smaller now. Let's give it a measure. So you want to keep decreasing in the same way until the hole is about the size that your toe was at the start. So mine was 8 centimetres, 7-8 centimetres, so I'm hoping that's what I'm going to have about now. A little bit under, but I can live with that. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to decrease in every stitch. So every stitch now I'm decreasing 2 stitches together. And I'm going to continue doing that round until the hole is nearly gone. This may not be 2 full rounds, it may be a round and a half, it doesn't matter. I'm just going to go until it looks like it's going to be easy to draw together with the wool needle. Looks like we're nearly there. Oh, that stitch is being tricky. Yeah, still get my finger in. Let's go another couple of stitches. One more for luck? Yeah, one more. Will that do us? Yeah. So we're just going to finish off our yarn the same way we did before. Cut a long tail, pull it through the loop and thread it on a yarn needle. Okay, I've just put my hand inside just to make this next bit easier for sewing, and I'm just going to weave the yarn through those last few stitches, just going in and out, and then pull it tight. And now I'm going to over sew it a little bit just to strengthen that last part. And then I'm going to weave in my ends. And that's it done. So I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. If you have any problems or questions, just leave them in the comments below. All the details are in the description box, so there is everything written out there and everything that I've used. And yeah, enjoy your socks. May you make many and have very happy, bright feet.